Please hang up and try again.
Just Okay, so today is a good time. I can't keep telling stories. I'm gonna run out, and my life is honestly not that exciting. I was homeschooled. So today, instead, I have a friend here to tell her crazy story. So story time. Ready? Come on in. So, okay, make sure, look at this, not at this. This is Emily.
I'm Emily. When I was a kid, we had this big dirt pile down in the cul-de-sac. Huge. It was like... Anyway, so we used to play on the dirt pile all the time. And then these people started building houses on the plot there, and we lived our whole lives without that. What?
Nothing. Don't worry about it.
They started building houses there, and we decided it would be a really cool idea to go throw rocks at the ice that had frozen over in the basement of the area. We were just chucking rocks and being hoodlums and whatnot, and it was probably like 4 p.m. or something. We're just chilling, and this guy drives up in his bright blue pickup truck, and he pulls up and he like darts out and he starts running at us. He just looks like this normal guy in this horrible yellow polo shirt, and he's balding and gross. And he's like,
"Hey, you kids! You kids!"
You know, and I froze, and my brother ran the other way, and my friend who was with me at the time just stood there like an idiot, and I was the only one who could possibly say anything, because apparently that's how it works. He asked me what I was doing and demanded to know why I was there, and I said I lived up the street, and so I stopped, and I told him I would stop. My brother just stood there like...
Probably the best story ever.
My friend comes up and too, and he's just like, and he throws the rock somewhere in his backyard because he doesn't want to be seen with it, even though he was throwing it too. Anyway, this guy tells us that if he ever sees us doing it again, he'll call the police, and he didn't tell us who he was or what his credentials were. He was just some dude who had swerved up in a pickup truck. Naturally, being the conformist that I am, I decided to never, ever throw rocks at that house again. Which is a blatant lie, because I threw rocks for like 45 minutes afterwards. We kept going, I was like,
let's go inside the house this time and be rebel.
We decided to go into the house anyway, because I was a rebel.
Conform.
I didn't want to conform, so I didn't. And we went in the house, into the basement of the house. And then there was like a frozen pond in there, so we were ice skating on it and stuff. And you know, my brother had gotten stuck once, and he was crying, and so he went home. What happened after that? We climbed out of the basement. You can't even do anything with this story.
Go.
It's too choppy.
Go.
You're gonna have to...
We've already established that I'm a wizard.
Oh yeah. So, we climb out of the house eventually after a good, rousing time of throwing rocks inside the basement of the house that was being built. Out of the corner of my eye, I see this thing, and it's this horrible yellow color, just like the guy's polo shirt. He's over there leaning casually like against this house, and I was just like, oh my gosh, and my brothers were being idiots and, you know, throwing other stuff in, like water bottles and more rocks, mostly rocks. So this guy's over there, and he's just looking at us like some creep. He'd just been watching us play for like an hour, who knows, and so he was there, and I froze, and my brothers froze, and after I'd hit them multiple times to freeze, and then I just booked it and I ran, because he started walking towards us like, like ready to get us or something. I ran up the street, and I burst through my front door, and I was like,
Dad, there's a creep and he's there and he's gonna arrest us and we were throwing rocks in the basement.
My dad was like,
"Oh, we're gonna keep an eye on this creep."
even though the creep was gone, but I knew what his car looked like, and I knew he wore yellow polo shirts. It was gross. I decided that I hated that man, and that I wanted to show him what we were made of. In my mind, I was like a rebel against the government, against the system, against the man. I could not conform to the man, because if I conformed to the man, I couldn't do what I wanted to do, and that's just not how I work. So I decided that that night I was going to rally up my friend and my loser brothers. No offense, guys. I rallied them up, and we got all these big dirt wad clump things that had frozen over. It was probably like 11 p.m. and I was only 10 at the time, so it was kind of, you know, it was like, oh yeah! I never had a curfew. I could go out drinking and my parents wouldn't even know.
Water, that is.
Kool-Aid.
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 Real.
Don't drink the Kool-Aid.
I made the Kool-Aid.
So many implications.
We got dressed in black because black was cool, and we all had these matching ski masks, and we went down to the house and got like this big dumb wagon of giant dirt clumps, and I was like,
I'm gonna throw them at this house.
at the time the house we were playing in was still being built, but the one next to it was totally finished, so it had the paint job and it looked really nice, and I was like,
We're gonna destroy them.
you know, I just started boom, boom, you know, my friend was like, yeah, this is great, yeah, man, woo. And we were little and derpy and just throwing stuff, and it was nighttime, and I had this adrenaline rush, like,
Yeah, man, they're never gonna build another house here again.
of course they finished both houses eventually, but that's beside the point. The next morning, there were people out there inspecting the house, and my dad was like,
What did you do?
and I was like,
Why would you assume it was me?
there was a whole group down there. They were asking around the neighborhood, like, if anybody had seen anything, and no one had, and I was like, well, it was me. I think my dad was secretly proud, because he never got mad at me, ever. He's like,
Here, have a cookie.
I told him what we had done. So we did that, and the garage was totally destroyed. It was like dents, you know, dirt.
Wow.
It was awful. It was just like awful. That night was the evening of our street barbecue, where every family on the street was out there cooking on the grill, and they had a bouncy house.
I love bouncy houses.
It was great. It was nice. I never got to bounce in it, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why I never got to get in the bouncy house. Because my dad, in all of his pride, he made me and my brother go down there and clean off the garage and mop up and sweep up everything while everybody played, and all these kids were in the cul-de-sac, and they're all there, and all the families that we had ever met in our neighborhood were there, and they were eating, and we were just sweeping, and I was all miserable, and I was mad, and my friend was helping us, but then his dad called him in for supper. I don't call it supper, and I think supper's weird. Do you call it supper?
Supper. Time for supper.
He called him in for supper, so he didn't have to sweep up. He was out there for like 0.3 seconds. He was like, bye guys, and then he left us, and it was just me and my brother and my dad supervising as we cleaned off the garage. The best part was that the guy, we call him the guy in our family, the yellow polo shirt guy, was in my nightmares for weeks.
Oh gosh.
This is proof. I'm probably gonna get arrested because of this video.
No, it's, what's it called? The been too long.
It's been too long?
Yeah.
Is there a login set?
No, I'm actually just recording this so that I can send you to jail. Totes excite. That was, wow, that was
Horrible?
for the first
If you-
time, that was pretty good. I will make it look beautiful.
Blech.
We good.
How did I know that was coming?
Like, comment, subscribe, and love me. And, I
Love
don't know. No, not her.
No, don't love
But
me.
let her know how she did.
No,
She's
don't do that.
Super self-conscious. See you next time. Yeah, say it.
Compliments of the magnificent Sylvester.
Bye, guys.
Be like,
Hey, you kids! You kids!